What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages? Joker back again once again, and today, people, today on this episode of WTF Bungie unintentionally demonstrates why government bureaucracy when it comes to compulsory acts of charity is bad. In an event that is the classic example of the difference between a game that wastes your time and a game that makes you want to waste your time, this event has to categorically be one of the most disrespectful things that Bungie has ever had the audacity to put in front of the player base and then act like we should be grateful for the content. For those of you who do not know, because every video is somebody's first, but also because there's just a lot of the player population checked out right now. I've seen the Steam charts numbers. It's, yikes. So for those of you who do not know, there's currently an event being held. Well, at least the farce of an event. This event is so bad it is making longtime Destiny, we'll call them hardcore fans, question what they even want from the game. And rightly so. Now, let's go ahead and back it up before we get too far ahead of ourselves and explain the actual event. This event, much like other Destiny events, is a little more than a mundane, overly grindy resource dump event. However, unlike the ones from the past, this one managed to be even stupider, because at least all those other events had loot, and you could choose your loot. With weapon crafting, what this event has really become is an arbitrary resource grind, where when you turn in your resources to get your loot, you've already drawn the conclusion that you're going to dismantle your loot because, and honestly, if a weapon's not worth crafting, is it worth having? Taking up space in your inventory or your vault? No, I don't think so. But I digress. Now, here's what Bungie had to say about the event itself. All Guardians will be asked to collect treasure in the form of Captain's coins from around the system to donate towards the Elixni Quarter, helping Spider with improvements and upkeep, while Mithrax and Ido devote their time to researching the relics of Nezarec. And by relics of Nezarec, they mean Nezarac's butchered, mutilated corpse that we're gonna wear as tchotchkes, because as I am calling it now, to nobody's surprise, that's going to be Strand. That's how we get Strand. Dun dun dun! Cue no one being surprised at all. Captain's coins can be found in Destination Chest, Lost Sectors, public events, and of course, Seasonal Plunder Catch Crash and expedition activities. You can also find Captain's coins in the King's Fall Raid, Dares of Eternity, Strikes, Crucible, and Gambit. Each Guardian will have their own personal donation reward track with an emblem, upgrade materials, and a new swashbuckling ghost shell! Yay! The community as a whole will pull their treasures together and help Mithrax and Spider improve the Elixni Quarter, receiving global community-earned rewards and special Elixni thank you gifts along the way. Guardians may even find a deep sight weapon or two to help with completing their crafting collection, making the entire exercise pointless if you've already gotten everything. The community event only lasts 2 weeks, so tell your friends, assemble your fire team, and track down that treasure if you hate the people you know, or yourself. Huzzah! When I read this, I was instantly reminded of a similar event in another game, the premise being, well, basically the exact same. The Ishgardian Restoration event. It wasn't necessarily before my time per se, but I also don't have a crafter or a gatherer leveled, and I barely have my Dragoon leveled. Hell, it's only level 90 because I played a lot of PvP.
Dear grid coordinates, piss off.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Man, that PvP was fun. I need to play it more. Point being, I didn't participate in the Ishgardian Restoration because, I mean, even at this point, I haven't finished Shadowbringers. And to be clear, it's not for lack of loving the fuck out of Final Fantasy XIV. When I play Final Fantasy XIV, I don't want there to be any other distractions. It's just, I want to be engaged and engrossed in the story and everything that's going on. This isn't like Destiny where I have like 3 YouTube videos going and I'm talking to people and I'm drawing something and I'm waiting for a match to start and it's just, it's something you do with your buddies, I guess. It's a thing. It exists. And hey, it's not a battle royale, so there's that. All of this ADHD-addled rambling is to say, so while I wasn't around for this event, there's this thing called research and guides and explainers, so I will give you the TLDR based on what you can still do in the game, actually. And while I think that'll be amusing to underline where Destiny 2 fails as an MMO, comparatively speaking to other MMOs, it's the aftermath of the Ishgardian restoration, which is the most interesting part of it. Spoiler alert, your boy got a house. Now, because Final Fantasy XIV is a proper MMO, things like crafting and gathering are deeply rooted in its foundation, so it makes sense that you would have an event all about rewarding crafters for 1. Leveling up their crafting, and 2. Incentivized new players to level up theirs as well. What is this? Designing things for systems that exist in the game instead of tacking something on that you're going to remove in a year? Actually, no, not even a year, because all the seasons are removed with the release of the next DLC. So the only season that sticks around for a year is the first season of the year. Every other season has diminishing returns. And if I might digress for a moment, as I am oft wont to do, if you ever wondered why I really don't have a taste for Destiny lore anymore, it's because of the seasonal model and the Destiny content vault. So much of Destiny 2's rich lore, world building, and storytelling only exists as a video on some dude's channel. It's actually kind of depressing and kind of sad because it makes you not want to invest in it. Why would I waste time caring about something if Bungie can't be bothered to? But back to comparing Destiny to a vastly better game, which honestly isn't that hard. So because Final Fantasy XIV is a proper MMO, things like crafting and gathering are deeply engraved into the very foundation of the game. There's a whole player economy around this, where goods and services are farmed, crafted, and sold. This allows even the most casual players a way to engage in the end game. Because let's say you're not good at raiding. It just doesn't click with you. Or you can't find a constant static. Or maybe you love your static, but you guys just are not good enough. Whatever the case may be, you can still level up crafting. Everyone needs potions. Everyone needs food and high-end game content. Everyone needs armor and weapons that you can craft. So this allows players who, for whatever reason, can't participate or don't participate in raiding or PvP or whatever, to still feel like there's a place for themselves in the end game. Don't raid? You can craft armor for your guild. You can craft potions for your guild. You can craft food for your guild, and they in turn can support you. Or maybe all you do is care about getting rich. All of this is to say, when you have an MMO and a player-driven economy, you create purpose for these grinds. So having a resource gathering and crafting event in, say, Final Fantasy XIV isn't as monotonous as, say, Destiny. Because in Destiny, this isn't the sort of thing anyone's normally doing or working towards. In fact, they have to introduce currencies for this sort of event, or they have to introduce grinds for this sort of event. But I'm on a tangent. So the way the Ishgardian Restoration event worked is going to sound really familiar if you've been paying attention to what I said about the Elixni Quarter event. Quote, with the Dragonsong War brought to its conclusion, the House of Lords and Commons have approved large-scale reconstruction works aimed at revitalizing the Holy See of Ishgard. The Ishgardian Restoration is an initiative wherein disciples of the Hand and Land join forces to help reconstruct the Firmament, a district in the Foundation devastated by the Dragonsong War. So basically the same concept. Now, as we've discussed, Final Fantasy XIV is a vastly more complex and well-put-together game than Destiny will ever hope to be. I mean, I love Destiny, don't get me wrong, but let's not pretend that it's anything more than Halo with extra steps. Outside of the event, the Ishgardian Restoration had a lasting effect on the world. Not only did it have a ton of rewards that were really cool, it opened up a new area for player housing. What exactly do you get for your time and effort in Destiny? Weapons you've had access to for the last 3 months? Oh, and you have to put in hours of work to get them. What do I mean? Well, now the way everybody has been playing this event is obvious. They're going to go to a lost sector, the fastest one they can find. They're going to kill a boss over and over and over and over and over again, ad nauseum, and I don't know, be bored out of their fucking mind? But if you played this the way that Bungie suggested, meaning you do the activities like catch crash, well, one of these packages cost 1,000 coins, and each time you run Catch Crash, you get a handful. Basically, the math is like you get 300 an hour, so that's 3.5 hours of Catch Crash to get one box that may or may not have a deep sight weapon that you're probably just going to dismantle anyways, because weapon crafting. So, what else? What else is there? Oh, you get to see, well, there's benches in the town square now, I guess. Talk about the misappropriation of funds. Spider, I'm watching you. But really, jokes aside, who designed this shit? Your choices are spend hours to get one loot box, or run the same lost sector over and over and over and over and over and over until your eyes are bleeding, or not play it at all, which is the same choice. Who at Bungie thought this was fun? Like, who designed this? Who concepted this? Who approved this? I would honestly rather have no event than one that disrespects my time. Now, why does this matter? Why am I bitching about a bad event? Bungie events are always bad. Well, this is what Bungie thinks about its average player base. This is how stupid Bungie thinks its players are. Bungie thinks you'll be lulled into being excited to return to Destiny and grind out the same thing for resources for nothing. To run the loot hamster wheel that you've already been running and grinding. They legitimately thought we would enjoy this, that we would be happy to participate in pointless grinding. They thought that this would be an actual event. How insulting is that? But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Remember to like, but only if you did. Subscribe for more. Feel free to donate to my Patreon if you're feeling particularly generous. And above all else, stay frosty.